What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of Backyard Banter. Johnny, James, Tanner. We're back, and a whole lot has happened since the last time we met. James, I believe you picked Clemson to win the national championship.
I did.
I believe I picked Clemson to be in the national championship.
Can I take this moment to retract both of our statements? Yes. Thank you.
I was still shocked. After they lost to Georgia Tech, I was like, you know what? They're going to get back on track.
Yeah,
right?
that's
They
fine.
got everyone there. Yeah. No, I mean, Dabo's going to be coaching at USF in a few weeks. So
if he's lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, boys, how are we doing? It's been about 3 weeks since we met up. How are we feeling?
Good.
Yeah, the greatest time of the year is taking place right now. So
yeah, about 12 seconds ago, we were just talking about how electric this weekend is, and we never talk golf on the podcast. We will be talking some Ryder Cup a little bit later on, but let's talk about, I believe, is outside of maybe Tanner, and I'm going to pose a question to the people watching about something me and James talked about last weekend that we talked about in the group chat that we have, but we'll get to that in a second. We'll start with college football. Tanner, we're 4 weeks into the college football season, which is nice that the episode before college football started, we did our predictions. Now we're about a month in, and we get to see how wrong we are in mine and James's case. Or, I want to ask you, what's your biggest takeaway 4 weeks into the season?
Well, I would say, first of all, my biggest takeaway is I think the Big Ten is deeper than I originally thought. I know it's still kind of early. Wasn't expecting Indiana to do that last week. You guys could talk about Indiana and if they're legit or not. That's a conversation I don't want to be a part of as a Purdue fan. But they looked really good, and Fernando Mendoza is the favorite for the Heisman, and he should be. He's probably going to be the number one pick. He is the real deal at quarterback. So Indiana in the Big Ten. USC's offense looks really good. Mm-hmm. Oregon's better than I thought they would be. Dante Moore is a guy that I was willing to maybe give him time and get behind as a non-Oregon fan, as a spectator. He's been fantastic to start the year. He could be in that Heisman conversation. He could be at the ceremony come December. So Oregon better than I thought, and they still thought they would be a playoff team. Ohio State, Penn State, obviously. Michigan's better than I thought too. I think Underwood, as the season goes on, is going to get better and better. That is a huge win in Nebraska. So not to be a Big Ten homer, but the Big Ten is deeper than I thought it would be. I still think it's all Big Ten and SEC. And another takeaway I have is the Big 12 has been kind of electric to watch this year, which it always is. But I'm kind of enjoying watching the Big 12 a little bit. And one final takeaway, just kind of 1 month in the season, I'm not surprised by it. I think I might have mentioned it last episode, but I was expecting Georgia Tech to be up near the top of the ACC standings. I think Georgia Tech's going to win the ACC a month in.
I remember you had them in your conference championship. I remember that pretty vividly. So, yeah, shout out Tanner. I think I had them in there too, but I think you had them beating Clemson in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. You had them winning one of them.
Yes.
Tanner's locked in. What about you, James?
Yeah, I mean, Tanner kind of hit 2 points there. I agree with what you said for both. I think the Big Ten, I mean, I texted Johnny about Illinois the other day, and I mean, first of all, I'm looking at the spread early in the game. IU's favored by 6.5. I'm like, okay, that's weird because you just do the math, right? The standard math is 3 for 3 advantage if you're home, neutral site. So you figure according to everything that everyone tells us, Indiana was going to be favored by 0.5 point even at Illinois. So I'm like, okay, either the committee got it wrong by putting Illinois 8 and IU at 16 or whatever it was, or, they know something, and clearly they knew something because holy cow, it was never a game. I was really disappointed. I was working all day Saturday, and I was looking forward to watching a good college football game Saturday night, and I just didn't get that. And so that was really unfortunate. But yeah, I will say the Big 12, for sure. I agree with Tanner. Texas Tech was a team I almost put in my playoff. I didn't because I put Kansas State, I believe. But Texas Tech is legit. They're fun to watch. It was a hell of a game against Utah. I think Utah is no slouch of a team either. I just think, I mean, it's just impressive. That game I kind of watched vaguely while I was working. Those were really good. It's kind of awesome when you got that West Coast ball early in the morning. It was just a fun game to watch. But I agree. I think we kind of talked about it before about a 3-loss SEC team potentially getting in. And in my opinion, through 5 weeks or 4 weeks into the season, I think that's erased because there's a lot of teams in these conferences that are playing well. You look at the Big Ten, Michigan, USC, IU. I think Illinois is still not out of it by any means. If they beat USC this week, they could be 10-2 by the end of the year. I think that gets you in the playoff. So I think my take is that a 9-3 team, if the season kind of continues on this pace, I think it's a guarantee to not make the playoff no matter the strength of schedule, just because the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, they've got some really legitimate playoff contender teams. It's not just the ACC having one and the Big 12 having one. I think these conferences are a little better than maybe we imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I think my biggest way is that this season is kind of like last season. There's not one team where like, oh, they're the best. For a while it was Alabama and then Clemson and then Georgia. This season a lot like last year. Like Miami is supposedly the number 2 team in the country. They have the best defensive front in football. Carson Beck, he's okay. He's better than I was higher in Miami because I like Carson Beck would have a better year than last year, and he has. But I watched him against Florida, and granted, Florida has one of the 15 best defenses in the country, but Florida was missing like 5 starters, and Carson Beck just looked lost, and so that's kind of a takeaway. Another takeaway has to be Florida State, first of all. I mean, what they've done is insane. They won 2 games last year. And they beat Bama. And I understand Bama has draft picks at every single position on their team right now, period. So, I mean, they went and they controlled the game. So I have to, much as it pains me, I have to shout Florida State. That Florida State-Miami game in 2 weeks, if you guys want to see an atmosphere, that atmosphere is going to be insane. Because Miami fans are the most insufferable fans that there are in college football. There is not a fan base worse than them. I can guarantee it. There is no fan base worse than Miami. And it's a night game, which is dangerous at all. There's going to be fights at that game. Going up to Doug Campbell against Florida State, who's not as bad as Miami, but it's just as awful. The thing that annoys me about Miami is there's a reason no one goes when they're bad. It's because no one cares enough, and they're good, and everyone comes back, and whatever. That's a whole other thing. But just the depth in these conferences, and that's kind of what the transfer portal has done. A team like Texas Tech went and bought themselves a new roster. That's what they did. It was the last year without the rev share, and they went out with their oil money and bought guys. Like their coach came out and said, it's like, we have guys that started for us last year that are good players that are on our second and third stringers because we brought in guys that are better. And you need that kind of depth to compete. But Tanner talked about the Big Ten, which is 100% their depth is better. Even like Nebraska, I still think is a solid team, right? And they're looking at probably being the 6th, 7th best team in the country. And then you go to the SEC, which is just insane when you're talking about depth, right? Texas A&M is undefeated, and they're the 5th, 6th best team in the SEC, maybe depending on how you want to rank it. How about Vandy? Like Vandy's actually good this year. Like Vandy's going to win 9 games this year. Vandy goes to Bama next weekend. That's a big game. You know what I mean? Like that's a big game. Yeah. But yeah. So just from a broad sense, those are some takeaways. And another takeaway has to be how awful Florida is. Whether you're a show like this, when I'm a big Gator fan, or a national show, is Tanner, better than anyone because you've been on DJ Lagway for a little bit. I don't care how hurt you were in the spring, which he missed the entire spring. I don't care how hurt you were in the fall, and he missed 2-3 weeks in the fall. Like, I get it, you're hurt. You're going to be rusty. We're a month into the season. Are you just not practicing every day? And how about all those mental reps you were taking in the offseason? I didn't know the mental reps was throwing it and hitting the LSU guy right in the freaking face mask. I didn't know that was part of the mental reps. And part of it is Billy Napier not hiring an offense coordinator and him running the same 6 plays over and over again. And the reason why Florida's struggling is because when you look at the tape, there's literally no one open on these route concepts. But just from a narrative that Florida was a top 15 coming to the country, and the fact that their offense is unwatchable is a big surprise. I thought if Florida was going to struggle this year, it was going to be because of their secondary and kind of their back end, not because DJ Lagway would be one of the biggest disappointments in college football so far this year.
Yeah, I did say it. I did tell Tanner that I was not high on year 2 Lagway, but when you make those predictions and they start looking good, you still kind of like take a step back and you're like, okay, but I didn't expect it to be this bad.
This bad, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like when we talk about Lagway maybe not performing up to Heisman, like that was the bar for Lagway, right? And now it's like, does Florida have another quarterback option? Like it's not that bad, but he's been
some Gator fans
ferocious.
It's one of those things that it's like if he's not healthy and he's not right, then I don't understand throwing him out there because one, this is supposed to be your program. Like DJ Lagway is supposed to be your program savior for Billy Napier, and two, this is a kid that has NFL talent. So like, if he is not right, why is he one just hurting his draft stock, two risking re-injury, and three hurting his squad? So it's one of those things where it's like I don't know his full like health extent and I'm not a Florida fan. I watched them and I was high on Lagway, so I don't know exactly the extent of his health, but if he's not right and he continues to play bad, I think Florida does have to consider shutting him down and maybe for the season and turning a different direction. I don't know. That's just kind of my takeaway from the outside looking in.
There's a rumor that in his NIL contract, it kind of like bars him from being benched or something, which is crazy in a new in the kind of the new world that we're in. But a lot of this is, and we won't talk about Florida for that long because I could go on forever. But a lot of the times, and Billy Napier has gotten hell, and rightfully so. I don't know how you lose to a directional school at home. It's just beyond me. And James knows about it, but sorry, James. But that
was last year, all right?
But some people compared Florida to Notre Dame in the sense of we're going to make the national championship. Me and James went over Florida's schedule. They literally play like the NFC East. It is incredible the teams they play. The committee shouldn't even rank these teams. They should ask Florida players who are the best teams you played and then rank them. Because they play LSU, Miami, Texas, Georgia, Florida State, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, it's insane. But and by the way, I want to pull up Penn State schedule. All that we got Penn State playing Nevada, FIU, Villanova. Oh, they play Oregon, UCLA, Northwestern. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
Seems like they know what they're doing.
I mean, it's
looks like 12-0 to me.
Yeah, but when you look at Florida as a program and the fact that we have put up with Billy Napier's a losing record at Florida in year 4. What are we doing?
How does he have a job?
Florida has won 2 national championships this millennium. This is not no offense to him. This is not Purdue, right? In football, in football terms, this is not.
Purdue just fired a coach after 2 years.
Yeah, good. They got.
Well, apparently he was doing other stuff.
Let's get to the SEC. This isn't Missouri. This isn't South Carolina. These are teams that are good. This is a different level. Like this is University of Florida. This is a school that should, when it's right, should compete for national championships every single year. And we're out here settling for mediocrity.
And if it's not right, you shouldn't let him get an opportunity to waste more talent and years and money.
So the thing that's really interesting is that Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier came in the same year. Mario Cristobal noticed changes after year 1 because they weren't good. Year 2, they weren't even that good either. He went and hired an offensive coordinator to come in and say, okay, you fix this. I'm going to go be a game manager. Billy Napier says, no, I'm going to keep calling my same 6 plays and see if we can win. And, they haven't. But that's enough about Florida. It's just frustrating that a program that's as storied as University of Florida settles for mediocrity. And, Tanner, you're going to find this crazy. Everything runs through football. I don't care if you won a national championship in basketball. Football brings in $100 million every year. That is your priority. If your coach sucks in that as an athletic director, no other hire you make matters, to be completely honest with you. And there's not a bigger Gator basketball fan out there than me. I'm freaking wearing their shirt right now. But at a program like that, that's kind of where we're at. But I already talked for too long about Florida. Let's talk about, James, your favorite person in college football. Is James Franklin finally going to win a big game this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah,
I really do, because I said it at the beginning of the year, and I'm like I hit a reverse button, and I'm like anti Penn State, and now I'm just like, yeah, they are obviously they haven't played anybody. They're coming off the bye.
Oh, you don't like Villanova this year? I heard they got a good program.
I know. I haven't quite sure about. I'm not quite sure on that kind of football. My extensive
the Big East
knowledge
isn't a football conference. That's on me.
Oh yeah, they don't have Big East. Yeah, I'm not much of a Villanova football connoisseur myself, but I think it's really cool what Penn State's doing. Obviously, like I don't know. I'm sure you guys saw the video of their AD and James Franklin on the sideline when Villanova scored that touchdown at the end, or like the shutout, the 3-game shutout. Like obviously you can only take those games lightly, right? And Penn State has shown an ability to always win those games, whereas other teams, cough cough, my team has not won those guaranteed win games, right? But I think this year Penn State's legit. I mean, dare I say they're going to win a natty, because if I do say that, they're going to lose the next 3 games. But I think Penn State's legit. I do think they get it done this week. I tell you what, we talked about it already, but this weekend is going to be awesome. I got no work. I'm going home. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, I think Penn State. I like Penn State moving forward in this week. And like you said, you just read their schedule, and how can you? I mean, you get past this one. Yeah, you walked at 12-0. So
I'll tell you what, UCLA is worse than Villanova. So I will
yeah,
give the Wildcats some credit there.
Yeah,
there's not a program in Power 4, maybe in the country, that's as in shambles.
Which is crazy, but yeah,
insane because of where they are and where they play.
Yeah,
I mean, they play at the Rose Bowl, for goodness sakes. A disgrace to that place. But Tanner, what about you?
You know, I think a couple of weeks ago I would have taken Penn State, like no thought, no question about it. I haven't made a decision on this game yet. I will be watching this game. I will be having things on the line in this game, but I don't know what it is yet. Leaning towards Oregon right now. I think Dan Lanning's going to outcoach James Franklin, and it's not that I dislike James Franklin or think that he's a bad coach or can't win a big game, because I think he's capable of it. He has won big games in the past, maybe not as many as some people would like him to, but I just like Oregon. I like Dan Lanning. I think Dante Moore is a dynamic quarterback. I think in a game like this where both teams have NFL offensive linemen, NFL defensive linemen, and the line of scrimmage is just where, the game is so evenly matched and where it matters the most. In these types of matchups, I think the skill position guys is what's going to win ball games when it's even up front. And I think Dante Moore, the ability to make plays with his legs and to roll out and improvise is something that Drew Aller isn't bad at, but isn't as good as Dante Moore. I also like the athletes that Oregon has on the outside in their secondary. Dylan Thieneman, I hate to bring up Purdue, but he was a very good player at Purdue and is a safety at Oregon who's having a good year, going to be a first-round pick. Like, Oregon is still really, really good, so I think I'm going to lean Oregon. For the sake of the podcast, I'll take Oregon right now.
That place is going to be rocking.
It will be.
Like, that might break, like, decibel records. Like, that place, it's why not. This game right here is why you go to Penn State. Like, again, I never thought about going to Penn State, but I guarantee you the sorority girls and the frat brothers that are considering where to go, they're like, well, I can imagine a Saturday night game against a Big Ten team. Probably, I mean, guarantee it's wide out, right?
It's wide out.
Yeah. So it's going to be wide out. That place is going to be insane.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, it's at the same time as Alabama, Georgia, which is a shame to the whole college football.
YouTube TV, double box.
Georgia by 500 million. Wow. I think Georgia makes a statement this week. I'm not a believer.
They made a statement to me against Tennessee. First of all, I can't believe they won that game.
I agree.
For James Franklin for Penn State, if not this game, when? You know what I mean? When? This is a team. This is a quarterback. You got the two backs. You got the wide receivers in the portal. You got defense. You got studs everywhere. If not this game, when? When's it going to happen?
It's their game.
You go to Ohio State later this year. That's the only other game worth a damn on your schedule, unless you want to categorize Indiana. But whatever, Indiana is what it is. Indiana is not the same. Indiana's good. They might make the playoff again. They're not on the same level that Penn State is. Even if they went crazy against, there's levels to it, right? Yeah. And it's just a clash of the Titans in these games, and this is what makes college football so great. But if not this game, when? And that's why I'm picking Penn State, because if they don't win this game, like, they're never, I don't know if they'll ever win a big game. You're not winning at Ohio State later this year. I'll tell you that much. I don't trust you. And, we talked about it. They got lucky in the playoff last year of playing SMU and then Boise to get to the semifinal.
Yeah.
You can say.
And they ran into a good team. Yeah.
Yeah, and they ran into Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was good last year. But if you look at history of teams that were runner-ups in the national championship, Notre Dame is not some teams like, oh, wow, you put Notre Dame up against 2018 Clemson, they're winning. You know what I mean? It's just like Notre Dame was a good team, but people are talking about Penn State's like, oh, they made the semifinal last year. Yeah, A lot of teams would have. It's the same with Texas when they beat Clemson and then Arizona State. Even though I know Tanner loved the Arizona State team, but all that to say is, if not this game, when?
There's no way they lose this game. Like, in all respect, Tanner, there's no chance that Oregon wins this football game. Like there's. And the thing is, I am one of those guys that once I say something, man, I'm just dying. Like, I'm Penn State, Nittany Lions all weekend long, right? I do think Katron Allen's one of the most impressive players to watch in college football. I really do. And that's the thing. They got, he's got to take a breather. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're fine.
Nick Singleton.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's
so good.
Supposedly the number one back.
But
supposedly.
It's what Ohio State did last year. They had the dynamic too. Yeah. Frankly, it's what Notre Dame's trying to do this year, which I think they're going to get to that point. Like, there's some college football teams out there right now that have two of the most, I keep saying most dynamic backs, but then I watch Penn State play, and then I watch Notre Dame play, and then it's impressive. Like, I think there's a lot of good running backs, and Penn State has arguably two of the better ones. So, like, I understand the Dante Moore stud, like, unbelievable, but with that atmosphere, with a must win for James Franklin, to set up you win this game, you're almost guaranteed to be in the playoff. You're almost guaranteed to be they're winning this football game by 10. I'm telling you, they're winning this football game by 10. Come on.
I think that Dan Lanning, when it comes to these big games, now he doesn't have a perfect record in these big games, but he's been very good, and his Oregon teams have come out prepared and ready to go, and that's what I expect out of Oregon. I don't know if I can expect that out of Penn State, given James Franklin's history, and I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm going to put my trust in a game like this in Dan Lanning and the team that I think has the better athletes on the outside. I know Penn State has some dogs. This is actually crazy. This kind of led me into this. I was at Drew Aller and Nick Singleton's first career start because they were both 5-stars. Mm-hmm. It was at Purdue at Ross-Ade Stadium, and I remember being at that game. And they were freshmen then. They were really, really good, and they are even better players now. But I just can't, like, Dan Lanning versus James Franklin, similar rosters, similar teams. I'm going to take Dan Lanning. I don't care where it's at.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So there's a question that me and James talked about a few weeks ago that Tanner kind of thought was foreign, but I kind of want to bring up again, is that James and I would trade a basketball national championship for our team to make the playoff. And I know Tanner might think it's crazy. And the more I've thought about it, it might be a little bit too crazy. They might have to win a little bit more. Like, I might trade the national championship for Florida to make like the semifinal or something. But James, that transitions because I want to talk about Notre Dame a little bit before we move to the NFL. Do you still feel that way? / how disappointed, if that's the right word, are you in Notre Dame 3 weeks into the season?
Yeah, I think for me, like, football kind of in the last 6 years, football has kind of just been all I care about. Like, I love when the Cubs are good, and I'll be dialed in when the Cubs are playing in the postseason. The Bulls and the Blackhawks have been atrocious, so that they don't even count as franchises at this point. But football, and you could ask anyone that knows me, football just determines my emotion, like my emotional state. So now that the Bears, after watching them this weekend, I can't wait for 3:25 on Sunday. Okay, the Bears were 0-2, and you know what I was excited for all week long? 3:25 on Sunday. Notre Dame. I don't care that they're 0-2. They get an opportunity to, frankly, kick some ass against Purdue. That's what I was looking for, okay? They did that, okay? Now we have a tough, arrangement. We got to go to Arkansas. Fine, another opportunity. Football just consumes, my weekends, and it's not good when my teams lose. And, frankly, it's been a tough few weeks because I was 0-4 going into this weekend, okay? So I was not a pleasant person to be around on Saturday nights or Sunday. But back to Notre Dame. I believe I don't think they're going to make the playoff. That is I think they're going to finish the season 9-3. I don't know which one they're going to drop. I pray I'm wrong because I do believe a 10-2 Notre Dame team absolutely gets to the playoff. There's no doubt in my mind. The 2 losses they've had, I think you can see that with the committee keeping them in the top 25. The first 0-2 team to be in the top 25.
There, not the committee.
Well, sorry, you're right, but I mean. I feel like that translates a little bit, but the AP Keeps them in the top 25. First team to stay in the AP since the 80s. Again, the AP is getting some slack lately. Because, boy, I think us three should actually find a way to figure out how to be voters, and I think it'd be the coolest job ever. But I'm unfortunately not super high on Notre Dame, which I think kind of sucks. Losing the first two games to really good teams. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price are so fun to watch, and Jeremiah Love is going to be an excellent back in the NFL. But CJ Carr is too young for me. He's made some decisions, and the defense has completely lost its touch. I mean, if you talk Notre Dame football, you don't talk about quarterbacks. You talk about offensive line and defense, and those have, frankly, been the worst two parts of the game. So I'm upset. I still think we could go 10-2. My prediction's 9-3, miss the playoff. But I tell you what, it doesn't matter, because even if we lose this week, I'm going to be excited the next week after that. Heck, on my wedding day, I'm going to be looking at the box score if we beat Boston College or not. Like, football, it consumes me as much as Purdue basketball consumes Tanner. So I just
this is going to be me on James's wedding day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm going to be standing right behind Johnny, figuring out what he's watching. So.
Yeah, but you're gonna hear me go up for the reading, and then DJ Lago's gonna throw another pick against Georgia.
Yeah, he might.
I'm gonna get kicked out, just ripping, anyway. But yeah, it's cool that we have different perspectives on this, because where Tanner grew up, I don't know if there's a bigger like college basketball crazed area than Lafayette, Indiana, right? But for me, you grow up driving 2 hours every day up I-75 to Gainesville. Doesn't matter if they were playing, LIU. It doesn't matter if they're playing or Alabama. It doesn't matter who you were playing.
Or USF.
Yeah. Don't talk about it. USF, man. I'll tell you what. It goes to your point, James. When Florida loses, like, I thought about that USF game like every single day, all week, and it didn't consume my life, but it got to the point like I cannot believe they lost. Like, that's what I thought, and it's like every day, and it's like I cannot believe that they lost, because now you have to go be perfect. And you start to be perfect when you're the most below average team in football. But it's just different. The pageantry is different. It's different when there's 90,000 people there. It's different when Tom Petty comes on. It's different when, it's just the tradition, which makes college basketball and college football so special. But yeah, and it's more. You mentioned the Bears, James. It's more like, I love the Bucs. Don't get me wrong. I have a whole other podcast with the Bucs where I talk the Bucs almost every single day. But when Florida loses, it's
you can't read the group chat text that I texted you guys because of how disappointed and upset I was when Notre Dame lost the football game. I sat there on the couch for an hour and a half just texting everyone about the frustration and all this and how I hate football. I'm going to start doing puzzles now instead of watching football. But then again, it's like, you know what? No, because I'm standing a volleyball game at Illinois College, and after each point, I'm flipping back to YouTube TV to figure out if Purdue and Notre Dame are out of a rain delay yet. Yeah. Like, it consumes me. And the problem is Notre Dame right now is 1-2. And Johnny, I can't imagine if, and this is no offense, when you play in the SEC and you don't have a great team, you could go, 7-5, and that would destroy me.
5-7.
It would destroy me. Like, what do I do for the 7 weeks I got to deal with that loss? Are you kidding me?
I still watch them. Like, I will never not watch a Gator game. Like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter if they're 2-8 going into the final 2 weeks. Like, I will always watch them. And the thing that makes Florida tough is because they're not losing this game because they're less talented. Like, Florida has dudes. Like, Florida has NFL dudes at almost every position. They're losing it because of stupid stuff. But Tanner, why don't you give us the other side of the spectrum?
You've never been inside of James has been inside of Mackey, but when 14,856 people are on their feet and screaming, and Sandstorm comes on, and Purdue hits a big three, and the crowd pops, and there's a timeout, like, oh my goodness, I have chills running down my spine thinking about it right now. But you're right, it is really just different based on totally based on where you're from or the teams you support. And I would say in my case, with me even more, is I just love college basketball as a whole. I think, to me, if you were to say keep one and get rid of the other for the rest of your life, I would keep college basketball and say I don't care if I watch college football again. That's how much I love college basketball. I know I'm probably in the minority, but like
No, I
there's
don't think
just something.
so.
There's something
I
about
love college basketball too, Tanner. I mean, if you were to tell me I could pick one postseason thing to watch, I'd pick March Madness over
Absolutely.
anything.
100%.
I'd pick March Madness over the playoff, over NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, the Super Bowl. I mean, I pick March Madness or even the
How
college
about
basketball national championship game
Yeah.
over everything. So I'm I'm right there with you.
how about this? I mean, and I know my opinion, and I've been given slack for this. I would much rather watch college athletics than professional athletics. That's
Yeah.
just my.
I'm with you. And
That's
football is close. Like I love the NFL.
football's close. I
And,
love the Bears. I love the Chicago Bears, but
and the product of football in the NFL is better. But, you know, when you watch a Bucks game, there's 62,000 people there in those freaking red seats when it's 120 degrees on the field. I don't know how I don't even know how they get fans.
it doesn't look
in those games.
enjoyable. Yeah.
But and then it's just different, you know. When you look at the biggest stadiums in the world, it's the Big House, it's the Shoe, it's Happy Valley, it's Death Valley, the real Death Valley at LSU. You know, it's Bryant Denny Stadium. Like it's these college campuses in the middle of nowhere. Like where is Gainesville, Florida? Where is Auburn, Alabama on a map? Where is Happy Valley, Pennsylvania on a, you know what I mean? Like that's the part of what makes it niche. It's the same thing. No offense, Center. Where's Lafayette, Indiana on a map? If you'd have told me before I met you, before we became roommates, to point out to Lafayette, Indiana on a map, I would have said, where?
No,
I
agree.
What I mean?
I've been there 10 times and I still don't know where it is.
Yeah, but that's a great part of it. So I mean, that's the great part about this. I'm glad we were to have this conversation in what's such a crazy week in sports. But you know, it's always great to talk about because, like Tanner said, you know, when you have 14,856 people in Mackey, you know, that sounds like the swamp to a degree. You know what I mean? So it definitely
with the metal roof too, and it's not like
go.
Mackey compared to like other even Big Ten arenas is just this large capacity arena. It's not, and to be honest, I don't know how they fit almost 15,000.
Everyone's standing on top of each other. Like
I mean, it's tiny. It's not a very big arena, but they find a way to get everybody in. And with the metal roof, it's unbelievable. It just echoes, and I mean, I need to go to the swamp. I need to see what it's like on the football side.
Come on, we need maybe when the Gators are actually relevant. We'll go. Anytime you guys want to go to the swamp, we'll go to the swamp. Don't give me
anytime.
Anytime. I mean, we can even go this year. We can even go this year.
Let's hit Texas next week.
You can't say that because I'm coming.
Come on, they play Tennessee the weekend before Thanksgiving. It's going to be a night game. Anyway, let's talk about the NFL real quick before we get to some Ryder Cup stuff. James, what's been your biggest takeaway in the National Football League through 3 weeks?
That's biggest takeaway. Well, I just talked about last night. I think I told Tanner this last night when we were texting. Like, the Lions are still a very good football team. Not just because they dismantled my beloved Chicago Bears, but they beat a very good Baltimore team on the road in Monday Night Football. So I think the NFC North is as good as advertised. I really do. I think the Packers had a really bad game and still almost won that game. I think the Vikings are going to find their groove with JJ. And I think the Lions with Jared Goff and I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is so gifted and so fun to watch that I think the NFC North is just as good as advertised. And I'm telling you, like, watch out for the Bears. And I'm being serious too. Like, if I watched the first half of the game, I'm like, oh gosh, defense we can't get a stop. Offense is getting lucky here and there. Second half comes out, defense is unbelievable. Caleb keeps doing his thing, and I'm like, it gives you a feeling that I haven't had for a while. So I think the NFC North is very good. I tell you what, sad to see all the injuries that happened this weekend, though. There are a lot of huge, and so much so that FanDuel gave me a bonus bet because of all the injuries that had happened on Sunday. $78 bonus bet because of all the injuries that happened. So, so shout out to FanDuel. That's love. But yeah, I hate seeing injuries like that happen. But NFC North, nasty. So,
yeah, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of James. I'm not gonna necessarily stick in the NFC North, but I'm gonna go as the NFC as a whole. I think the AFC is very, very top heavy, but I think that when I look at the NFC, I mean, I got to count real quick. I see 7 teams in the NFC that I think I could see winning a Super Bowl. Because the Niners, I think, when healthy, and they will eventually get there, I think, are going to be a Super Bowl contender. I think the Rams are. I think the Bucks and Eagles, that game this week, I can't wait to watch because
Awesome.
I am like starting to hop on a Bucks bandwagon, Johnny.
They're good, man. They're good.
So I want to see him. I want to see him this week against Philly, and then I mean, Packers, Lions. I think the Vikings, if they stay healthy at quarterback, I don't even care if it's McCarthy or Carson Wentz. That's crazy to say, but they're that good around them. Like I think there are 7 Super Bowl teams in the NFC. Outside of that, just kind of some takeaways. People overreact so much to the first few weeks of the season. Like that's my takeaway because and I see it a lot, especially where I'm living, because I'm a Bears fan, and Bears fans go on an emotional roller coaster, and I've done a good job of like staying just at a straight line all year. Like I wasn't just this guy being pissed after 0-2, like lot of season left, and then also like I don't like the Colts. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm around a lot of Colts fans. The Colts are not that good. The Colts are not that good, and people are overreacting to it. I'm not saying they're like the Saints last year where they're going to be this bad team, but the Colts are, I mean, we have too many people overhyping them. They're going to go to LA this weekend, and it's going to be reality check. I mean, the Colts are 3-0, and their opponents have a combined record of 1-8. Like,
yeah.
So I just would say people overreact so early. Although one overreaction that finally I don't have to watch anymore is Russell Wilson. Retire.
Yeah.
Please.
Poor guy gets benched. That's nuts.
So that was a rough situation. I think it's incredible that Daniel Jones even looked that good. I don't care who you're playing. He never looked like that in any game with the Giants. And Tanner, I slightly agree with you. Like I think the Colts can win their division because the division's really bad. But I get like Daniel Jones never looked that good.
No,
Tanner, you kind of stole mine. I think the NFC is as deep as it's been in a while. Because when you look at the AFC, one of Baltimore, Kansas City is going to be 1-3 after this weekend. And I don't think the Chiefs are very good to begin with. Like I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC, kind of by far. And I don't even think they're necessarily that good because who's their best wide receiver? Like Shakir, he's like the 20th.
I think they got 3 guys that are very similar in skill.
The Bucks got 3 wide receivers on their roster that are better than any one wide receiver that the Bills have.
Yeah, I agree.
That's an issue. That is an issue.
They just have Josh Allen, and the guy just finds ways to win football.
I mean, Josh Allen's the best player in football right now, no doubt. And then, I kind of like the Bengals that they were able to win the first 2 games. Now Joe Burrow's out until December, and now you look at the Ravens. And I think the Ravens are going to pick up their stride eventually, but they're probably going to have to be the 3 seed and go on the road, right? But when you look at the NFC, Tanner, I'll just rip off the teams because, I agree with you. When you look at the NFC, you get the 49ers, who are 3-0. Nick Bosa's out for the year. That's tough. The Eagles, who have been awful through 3 weeks, but are 3-0. You have the Bucks, who have been mediocre. I'll touch on them in a second. The Packers, who are really good. The Seahawks, who I think are slightly good. The Lions, who are really good. The Rams, who are really good. The Commanders, who no one's talking about all of a sudden because their roster is like 38 years old. But you got those are not one of those teams won't even make the playoffs. Like that's how many teams I just named. But so yeah, the NFC being as deep as it is a little bit surprising. And I'm a little bit lower on the Vikings because you have to be special quarterback to eventually win multiple games in the playoffs. And I just don't think they have that this year. They didn't have it last year. There's a reason why they lost in the first round. And it's great they might make the playoffs, but I'm not entirely in on the Vikings. And that loss that the Bears had in week 1 of the Vikings might come back to bite the Bears when they're 7-9 going in the last week instead of 8-8. That might be a big reason why. But you have to talk about the Bucks. The Bucks against the Jets played the game, obviously, where not a single person in their preseason starting offensive line played in their correct spot in week 3, and they won. You have Graham Barton, who was a left tackle in college, hasn't played there in a little bit, kicked out the left tackle week 1, and has played there. He's going to move back hopefully when Tristan Wirfs is healthy. But no one could have ever imagined that Baker Mayfield would be doing this, what he's doing in Tampa right now. 3 straight game-winning drives. He has just been the epitome of clutch and just when it's needed. The Bucs are the first team in NFL history for 11 straight games to rush over 100 yards and to hold their opponents to less than 100 yards rushing. The Texans, I don't know if you guys watched Monday Night Football, got to the half-yard line with 2 plays, and they threw it both plays because they knew they couldn't get a half yard on the goal line against Vita Vea and the Bucs defensive front. Like, dude, that's incredible. That gives me so much confidence as a fan and someone that covers the Bucs. That it's like teams don't even think they can run on them in almost in every single game. I'm pretty sure. No, 2 to 3 games. The quarterback has been the leading rusher against the Bucs. Like, that's some pretty crazy stuff. They played Bijan Robinson, right? Bijan Robinson had like 20 yards against the Bucs rushing. They played Nick Chubb, who's a little bit washed, but still Nick Chubb to an extent. Breece Hall, a bunch of people picking him second overall last year in fantasy. All of a sudden he's not very good. But yeah, the NFL has been super fun. There is not one greater invention than NFL Red Zone. Like, watching the witching hour at 1:00 the past 2 weekends has been incredible. Incredible. I mean, can you guys even believe that? It's peak life. If I could keep one channel that includes CBS, that includes ESPN, that includes ABC, it would be NFL Red Zone. Because
I sat there on Sunday and I was so glued to Red Zone that I looked down at my phone. I'm like, oh, the Bears kick off in 2 minutes. I should probably get Fox on. Like, that's how good it was on Sunday. I've really enjoyed the NFL this year. I've always been a big enjoyer of the NFL. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it. But when your team, I'm not even saying the Bears are good, but when your team is at least exciting, the NFL just gets even more exciting as a whole. Yeah. I really feel that with the Bears this year, just making it more enjoyable now that we're not like a laughing stock. I don't think we're a laughing stock anymore of the league. But just so many good teams. So every game, it seems like, comes down to one possession in the fourth quarter. And one thing I wanted to come on here and say today, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win the AFC South.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That was my preseason pick. I have proof to show you if you don't believe it. I really like that offense. I think they have a lot of potential. I love Liam Cohen, and I think that is the most wide open division in football. Like, why not the Jacksonville Jaguars? Why not?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I just think Trevor Lawrence is the most inconsistent player in the NFL. But
I tell you what, though, with the Bears, real quick, and this was watching the game obviously on Sunday, it's so exciting because when the Bears got a stop, I was excited for 2 reasons. One, I was excited because holy cow, the Bears defense got a stop. But 2, it was like another opportunity to watch Caleb Williams play. And I don't care. Call me a fanboy, call me whatever. Like, I wish the Bears played every single day so that I could watch Caleb Williams do something different every single play.
And a week ago, all of Chicago wanted him benched.
No, and I wasn't one of them. And I wasn't one of them because you know what? I want to watch him play because I want to watch the haters just curl up in their little corners because I think he's got the talent and I think it's starting to come out. You need Ben Johnson to get comfortable with him. I tell you what, Ben Johnson, when we hired him, he looked like a real nice guy. And boy, I bet you he's tough to play under because he just seems like hard. He seems like a tough guy. But shout out to him, first win as a head coach. And I tell you what, if the Bears can get to 2-2 at the bye, I'm not unhappy. So
yeah, winnable game.
Game. I need to see the Bears do it again on Sunday, and then I need to see them go win a primetime game on the road against Jaden Daniels for me to believe that the playoffs are possible. I'm not like saying the season's a wash and it's over, but like I said, I'm trying to ride that middle ground, stay on a consistent line and not be on that emotional roller coaster as a Bears fan. Like, I'm going to need to see it a couple more times and against an elite team, maybe not elite team, a good playoff caliber team before I'm going to be like, okay, maybe we can make the playoffs. Because my realistic expectation coming into the season was 7 to 10 wins would be great, but I want to see our offense improve week by week. And if we need to fix the defense next offseason, sure. And right now that's what it looks like. That's what my expectation was. So I'm not like crazy satisfied. I'm not disappointed.
I tell you what, I'm first in line to that roller coaster, and I'm sitting front row because I am just on that emotional roller coaster. So,
but I will say I don't know if there was a more impressive win than what the Lions did to the Ravens last night. I mean, that That was insane. And how about an all-time Amon-Ra St. Brown hot mic? Did you guys hear that?
Oh yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
He's electric. But
Yeah. I
anyway,
told Tanner that the Lions were gonna win. I texted him last night before the game started. I said I think the Lions win this one because Jared Goff was 18-4 against the spread primetime. I'm like, Lions just win this game. So
you know there's nothing I love than when a team runs the football, man. You know I love getting in the trenches.
Jahmyr Gibbs is unbelievable.
Him and Dave Montgomery. I'll tell you what, there's not a back in the NFL that hits the hole as quick as Jahmyr Gibbs right now. I mean, my goodness. But James, you know I get emotional when I watch teams run the football like that.
Well, and the starting center for the Lions, Graham Glasgow. Yeah. Do you know what town he's from?
The Cow, man. The Dirty D. Come on. The Dirty D. But quickly, 5 minutes about the Ryder Cup, because this Ryder Cup is probably the most anticipated golf event in, honestly, my lifetime. I've never seen a golf event get this much hype. That includes Masters when Tiger was in his prime, Phil Mickelson. I get it, but this one just seems a little bit different. So, James, I don't know how big our golf audience is. I know you. Honestly, all three of us have been following golf. I've watched more golf this year than any time in my entire life. But James, why don't you give us the Spark Notes version of the Ryder Cup and kind of your thoughts, and then Tanner, you can add on as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like every year, as a golf fan, you kind of pay attention to it because you're a golf fan, right? But I think this year in particular, it's really kind of just become this like national thing where people are hopping on and kind of just saying, all right, yeah, go Team USA. Like, yeah, I want to root for my country and whatnot. And so I think golf is also maybe it's credit to Liv, maybe it's just credit to COVID, because golf has kind of taken that turn since COVID that everyone and their brother plays golf. But this year is going to be awesome. My original kind of thought and expectations are, I do believe Team Europe has the better team. I really do. From 1 to 12, I do believe
Europe has 11 to 12 guys. That's unheard of.
Yeah, they are so good. But I do believe that, like, you look at the tournament that they just played, the Pro Core Championship, right? It's a tournament that Scotty Scheffler's never going to play in if the Ryder Cup's not going on, and JJ Spawn's not going to play in this tournament. And all these guys that are preparing for Bethpage Black, like, they all played. Scotty Scheffler won the tournament. Like, all this is happening. By the way, those poor mini tour guys that are playing at the Pro Core, and randomly Scotty Scheffler signs up for it. That's tough luck for you, buddy. But anyway, my thought is, I think Team Europe has the best team on paper. But I tell you what, I'm you're not going to catch me rooting for them or thinking that they're going to win. I think Bryson DeChambeau just caught some crazy flack yesterday about his YouTube page and how nobody watches him and all this and all that. And I think Bryson DeChambeau is one of the most electrifying golfers, especially for the Ryder Cup. He's the exact guy you want for the Ryder Cup. When he steps up there on the first tee, a 440-yard par 4 dogleg right,
for the green,
and hits it over the trees, and he's 30 yards short of the green, that will then tell you why he's on Team USA, and it's not this fluke. So I think America wins. I think it's going to come down to the wire Sunday afternoon in the ones matches. I tell you what, it's going to be electric because I love that Sunday match. If you don't know, it's basically 1v1. The captains pick who plays in what spot, and basically you see some of the strangest matchups. In years past, you've seen maybe the ones not play the best one on the other side, but I think this year you're going to really see Rory and Scotty battle it off in the final.
Rory and Bryson.
Maybe. But I unfortunately, I think Europe has the best team, and I think America, I think USA, in order for them to win, they're going to have to play perfect golf. Obviously, it helps being at home, Bethpage Black, but it's not the best maybe American course you could have picked because it's maybe it's not links, but it's definitely not just lined with trees like maybe we were used to, up in America. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned but excited because it's just it makes you proud. It makes you proud of your country, and it's kind of like an Olympic thing, So you rally around your boys, you rally around the red, white, and blue, and man, they look good in that Ralph Lauren. So yeah.
Quickly, Tanner, before you go, they moved up that first tee where it's like 375 yards. So Bryson will be going first, and he will drive the green on Friday morning, and that's gonna be incredible.
He did it last Ryder Cup too. He drove the first green, and it was electric. So.
Yeah, I remember. I strictly remember 2 years ago when we talked about the Ryder Cup on the podcast. You guys picked the USA, and I picked Europe, and I got a lot of flack for it. Team USA wasn't ready last Ryder Cup. Scotty is 2 years older. He's the man. He's the world number one. Bryson got that big win against Rory last summer. Kind of has that dog, that competitive fire that you love to see in someone, which I think we're really going to get this weekend. I think the USA is better than Team Europe this year. I really like the guys. I think USA has more depth. I know that might sound crazy, but like I look at a guy like Ben Griffin. Like nobody really knows about him. He's kind of quiet, kind of slept on. Ben Griffin's a really solid golfer. Like, is he going to come out and post a ton of birdies and just absolutely light it up? No, but he's not going to put himself in. He's not going to put himself in harm's way. He's a real smart, consistent golfer. And I really like the guys like Russell Henley. Nice to be able to watch Patrick Cantlay play slow now that he's in USA apparel. Like I love the storyline for Team USA. Bethpage Black, not technically a link style course, but does play into the hand of the Europeans. Very narrow. You got these long kind of undulating, fairways, and you got these bunkers everywhere and kind of thicker rough. So I do think the course plays into the favor of the Europeans, at least considering it's on American soil. Like, not the best course for the United States in our homeland, but I'm going to take the USA. I think Scotty is going to dominate. I think Bryson's competitive fire comes out. I think he's going to be juiced up. I think Ben Griffin is going to be a guy that like maybe is not being thought of now, but by the end of this tournament, Ben Griffin could be an American hero. I'm not saying he's going to maybe get a 1v1 on the Sunday round, but I think in one of those earlier rounds, he's going to do something or win a big match that like on paper, the USA is not expected to win. I was just looking to see if the pairings were out because as someone who is really excited for it and wants to know what the pairings are, Scotty and whoever his partner is over 3.5 birds, Bryson DeChambeau to win his match. I mean, that is the bread and butter every day. Every day, these 4 days, that's free coin. Free coin.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, what an away team hasn't won in how long? I know Europe was the last team. I know America hasn't won in Europe since like the 80s or something crazy.
It might have been Medina. It might have been.
It probably was Medina.
Illinois last time. But,
Miracle in Medina.
Yep. I'm not going to act like I'm some expert on Bethpage Black, to be completely honest with you. All I know is Europe returns 11 of 12 guys, which is unheard of in the Ryder Cup. And, the USA really needs JJ Spaun. To be completely honest.
I was going to say JJ Spawn's going to be the difference.
They really need Sam Burns. They really need, like you said, Ben Griffin. They really need Colin Morikawa to figure out why he's been so bad the last 3 months.
I think Colin Morikawa can navigate this course really well because I think out of all the Team USA players in the field, maybe Scotty aside, I think you trust his irons the most.
Oh, for sure. He's the best iron player in golf.
This is a course where you have to strike it well and hit greens.
Him, Scotty, and JJ are going to be lethal weapons because JJ Spaun won the U.S. Open and hit some of the most miraculous iron shots that I've ever seen, and it was flush on Saturday, and it was like, oh boy, this guy really is going to go win the U.S. Open, and now I'm like, maybe a guy that didn't, I've heard of JJ Spaun, I've watched him before, but he's going to be a big contributing factor to why America is going to win if they're going to win.
Yeah, you need Justin Thomas he's always played well in Ryder Cups. You need him to play well. And when you look at Europe, Tanner, I slightly disagree with you. I think they're a little bit deeper. I mean, Hoiberg is really good. Victor Hovland, really good. And obviously you have Rory McIlroy, who's probably the second best player in the world outside of Scotty. But now I think it's Scotty and then Rory and kind of everyone else right now. But I mean, James, you would know this better. Has there ever been a team, they have the same captain, they have 11 people returning. If there was a team to go win at Bethpage, this environment's going to be like unlike anything we've ever seen in golf.
It's dumb.
It's this team. Now,
I think
would never pick against them.
I disagree with Tanner. I do think Europe is better on paper, 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that USA is not going to win, because I do think Scotty's still Scotty and whatnot. But no, if any team were to come to America and win on away soil, it's going to be this European team. They're deep. I mean, their 1 through 12 is gross, and they have the experience. So
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, when you look, I mean, John Rahm was the best golfer in the world before he went to live, in my opinion. He was a stud. Matt Fitzpatrick, Northwestern guy, he's won a major. Tommy Fleetwood finally won. Tyrell Hatton had a great year. It seemed like he was in the mix in every single tournament that I watched, right? And he's another live guy. I think it's kind of surprising. There's a good amount of live guys that are playing, but I would never pick against America, to be completely honest with you. I don't care if it was if it was a team full of Tiger Woods versus a team full of us three playing. And James has seen me play golf recently. It's not great. So, but
I tell you what, I'm picking Tiger over us three. That's for sure.
I tell you what, as someone who works on a golf course every day, and honestly, I'm there way past work playing almost every day. I've thought about this Ryder Cup for months, and like I'm jittery thinking about it.
It's
I cannot.
It's
wait.
a few days away.
I can't wait.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be an electric sports weekend. You all need to enjoy it. That weekends like this come around not often, to be completely honest with you. You have the college football, you have NFL games, obviously the Ryder Cup, which is bound to be one of the best ones. Hopefully it's not a blowout. 2 years ago was kind of a blowout. Europe kind of took care of business. I just wanted to be competitive, so hopefully we get that. But we'll wrap it there. Who knows when we'll be back? We do our own thing. Who knows? We're all busy.
Yeah, we got motion. We're too busy.
Yeah, we find time when we can. But I guarantee you by November we'll have another episode out. So we will have an episode out before James gets married. We'll put it in that way.
Hands down. Maybe two.
Maybe two, depending on how electric the Ryder Cup is. But anyway, we'll wrap it there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys. I don't even know where we'll see you guys, but we'll see. We'll see you guys soon. See you later.
See ya.